ewo studio ha CCR 22 minutes after 4. Ekosiisen suni higher Sempa FM. And tell a friend to tune in to 94.7 6:30 p.m. Energy media no airberry media say bonso. Sammy akwaba na apom to say.
Obi mejo so onya media che.
Bibi aboko.
Onya me adon bibi aboko. Pa. Cause if we caught na ja what train say e metin na ya monkomo.
Confidence what ya na confidence.
And sakrazi be wakopi bibi na wase fa because and na free court ya nigye and ye free court nti o ka say membra no na chese wase me de vem.
O de nigye ne vem.
On say o court na o Fred dance ni say o media dance here and support o case. Na oba be dia dance na kama. Na ya toto na no the friend cross examination with the objective say ye be hwese oye no kwafo ana onye no kwafo na se no another dance no isisi so eto asumu ana insisi so ento asumu na ye be wie no na wa coming out unblemished timite bibia da ho fan se oye no kwafo na dance ni dim sem na wo ka no ye no krenti isisi so ema wunya ema wanijie because it means that your case and the credibility of your witness has not been undermined. And NDC4, we left the Supreme Court with that satisfaction with the performance of your witness, my boss, the chief executive officer of our party, and the only general in Ghana's politics, General Mosquito, Honorable Johnson, as you didn't get here. Indeed, Bibia did an aquam. Are
you saying, sir? Based on the over 2 hours cross-examination and their course, no?
I believe it was more than 2 hours.
More than 2 hours, yes. Answers are, Ora Johnson said, the legal team of the NDC, and also
of the petitioner,
sorry. In this case, no Chachuche Kata and Attorney Letha, Monomo Kasa, Emma petitioner, no. More satisfied because Semitier, the lawyer your friend no air kana honestly otie cross examination in it comes down to issue number 1. Sir, is there even a reasonable course of action for us to even be in the Supreme Court in the first place with an election petition? Because otie responses now say the validity of the result and the election more challenging in the unsatisfied 64-1.
You see, I mention me senior no kasai. I mean, lawyers the anya dia ye nyina ya dwen betimi aye ba akoda to be our perspectives ye nyina ye betimi atie ade ba akon but we have different perspectives, so I can appreciate the opinion or share and any new as far as this issue or this petition is concerned. So where preliminary objection, the respondents in this case are easy to this petitioner. That's precisely the argument. Or more argument in say, you're John Dramani Mahama petition or the Akoma Supreme Court. No? It is only challenging the declaration of the 2020 presidential election results by the returning officer G. Mensa. Now they are even expanding it. It is challenging whether or not the returning officer G. Mensa were performing edwuma waye edwuma emra ehye ne se wonye the constitutional and legal obligations. Now for them and challenge the validity of abatu na ankasa, and on the basis of the Metal Nunu case they think say it is not challenging abatu na ankasa, and for that matter any election petition it wasn't a Supreme Court etna so under Article 64.1. That's their argument. But we disagree. And in our submissions to that preliminary objection, which is before the court, we have explained why we disagree. And the court, for good reason, I decided, even though it's a preliminary objection under normal circumstances, it should have been determined before even we decide whether the matter is worth hearing or not. Court, they say, I will defer my decision on this until hearing should go on. Now, you drew. When we are giving our judgment, we will consider that one first. And I'm sure that is why that is issue number one.
Number one.
But because of the public interest nature of this issue, let me explain it, without prejudicing the issue. Na amamam fwatse yenso ye argument no ase. You see, Obi, what are we challenging? Petition, what is it about? It is about the declaration of the 2020 presidential election results. And I says that declaration a violate Ghana Yamra Kunyini 1992 Constitution, Article 63.3. The entity say abu samra no so. You see abu so because Article 63.3 and say Yebekas will be awe ni o mampinya bato Ghana. I was say Emma Papa dodo na ye total valid votes no. Wetimi enya mu ohamu nchichemu adunum
more than 50%.
More than 50%. You say per declaration returning officer for the presidential election a year on 9 December. Eno na o inacte mane be yemra. Wa gazette no. O mampenye kufuado enya more than 50%. And you say about one declaration na wa ye wa inacte wa gazette no nyina ye unconstitutional in the court no nyada emu. So we are challenging the declaration of the results. So this is very clear, indisputable. Okay. Now declaration because you see, when you say we are not challenging the validity of the election, what is your understanding of an election? Yeka election, the polling station election. Another constituency coalition, another regional coalition in this year's election, last year's election, Ekahumbi. Another national coalition, Ekahumbi. What is the election? Obi, I think that is the issue here. And per our understanding of public election regulations, 2020 CI 127, and only the two about we. A clear says election is a long process, it's not an event. And whereupon you can say, unless you challenge you are not challenging the election. It is a process. And the process is spelled out from Regulation 4 of CI 127 to, I believe, Regulation 49. Regulation 4 no about a process. That is when the writ of election is issued by the Electoral Commission. So from the time the writ of election is issued, the election is set in motion. The election process is set in motion. That is not when the process starts. It starts when the writ of election is issued. Does it end when we are done voting at the polling station? No. Does the election end when we are done with the coalition at the constituency coalition center and we duly sign the constituency coalition sheets and summary sheets and take our duplicates? Does it end there? No. Because there is another layer, the regional coalition center. Does it end at the regional coalition center? No. Because there is a national coalition center with agents of all political parties and a returning officer. And something must be done, the forms must be filled. Does it end at the National Coalition Center? No. Because after you do whatever you do at the National Coalition Center, Regulation 49 says, in fact, even before you get to Regulation 40, you must declare the outcome, enact it into law, and gazette it. That's Regulation 49. So it starts with the issuance of the writ of election from Regulation 4 of CI 127, and it ends with the gazetting of the results, Regulation 49. Any process in between deals with the election process. Because Obi, see you talk about a polling station. Na bibia polling station about to clean, perfect, valid. But collation ye na me ko challenge collation na. Can you say, so long as I'm not challenging voting at polling stations, I'm not challenging the validity of the election? I'm challenging coalition. That's the argument. You see, the argument is even laughable.
No, but
So it will match the same way.
Collation speaks to result. In this case, no, you are not
And
challenging
declaration
the
speaks to
validity
what? And
of
declaration.
results.
But collation speaks to results. And declaration speaks to what?
Same result.
Yes. And what are we challenging? Is it not a declaration? Is that in doubt? So how can you even suggest that the declaration of the results of an election is separate and distinct from the election? How? So Obi, that means per that logic, what it means is the voting will be perfect, valid, no flaws. Collation at constituency, regional and national, perfect, no flaws. Then an EC chairperson decides to go and declare an outcome a different from the outcome of the national coalition. Example.
Yeah.
Then somebody says that because the polling station voting was perfect, constituency coalition perfect, regional coalition perfect, national coalition perfect, don't go to the Supreme Court with an election petition, because what you have a problem with is the declaration. That's not part of the election. So where will you challenge the declaration? If we vote and based on all these processes we get, say, Jackson, presidential candidate for NDC, 100 votes. Philip Osebo, presidential candidate for MPP, 150 votes. Then the EC, Sammy Gyamfi, goes and declare 200 for Obi and 50 for Jackson. What's the declaration in the election? Won't you know challenge anything?
No, but the simple answer to that, and and that's why a question was posed to us here doing Ketia. Sir,
I will come there.
Is the petitioner challenging any result from the over 38,000 polling stations?
No, there was no question like that. There was no question.
No, but in all the petition itself,
answer
to the petition and all,
you
those issues came up.
If you are challenging the national figures, you are challenging votes from all polling stations and constituencies. Because you are challenging the declaration. The declaration, a declaration of results for the whole country. And that will be Mebwa. So if you are saying those figures, any the interpretation, the conclusions you have drawn from them, your own constitutional, you are challenging the entire results. So we are saying, you cannot delink declaration from an election. You cannot have an election without a declaration.
That ruling in 2004.
It is different. You see, these are
different,
materially distinguishable precedents and amount for equity. Because in the Metununu case, which was another NDC case in 2004, lawyer Tony later was a lawyer for the
Metununu.
Yeah. They didn't go to challenge, say, now after a declaration, a unconstitutional because the car say wa win no. So we declaration figures a woman one win it because we have more than 50% of the total valid votes. That was not the Metununu case. They were not challenging the constitutionality of the declaration. They were not challenging the validity of the declaration. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Say you declare results. Constituency biya results are candidates. So they were talking about the form and the content of the declaration. What must be in the declaration for it to be valid?
To be whole and
to valid. Be whole, to be wholesome. Let me even use that word. So they were saying, declaration so long one candidate biya votes at the polling station. One candidate biya votes at the constituency. No, what omra? It was like information. That was that case. Is it the same as the case we are making today before the Supreme Court? Have we spoken about the form of Jimenez's declaration? Sana bibi ni. There wasn't Kodi bibi kan one for bibi anga. Obi, are you seeing the difference? This time around, we are saying you have declared somebody as winner. But per your declaration, that person is not a winner because he didn't meet the constitutional threshold. That's Article 63, Clause 3, which says that you should get 50%, more than 50% of the total valid vote. So we are now challenging the constitutionality of your declaration. How can somebody say a case which is challenging the constitutionality of a declaration doesn't show any reasonable course of action? Well, that is for the Supreme Court to determine. But like I've explained to you, this is our opinion. Our opinion is that see a election and from when the writ of elections is issued till when the results are gazetted. Any thing now in between these processes, I violate the constitution, the public election regulations, or any law no, can be challenged under Article 64.1, which talks about election. And let me explain. Let me give you this point. You see, Article 64.1 didn't drop from the skies. If you read the Constitution, because the Constitution is when you are reading the Constitution, one leads to the other. Especially when you are reading articles in the same chapter of the Constitution. Article 64.1, which talks about Yatuaba now will be any person, any Ghanaian,
the validity of the election of the president,
any citizen, person or challenges election was not valid. On for petition go Supreme Court, and you based on the preceding article, Article 63. Hope are you getting me? Yeah. So read it as a whole. And what does Article 63 talk about? Is it just voting and coalition?
Article 63. Election of president.
Yes, read what is there.
I say a person shall not be a candidate in a presidential election unless he is nominated for election as president by a document which A is signed by him and B is signed by not less than 2 persons who are registered voters resident in the area, blah blah blah. In the 2 say the election of the president shall be on the terms of universal.
The first one, like I see, the 3-1 is about qualification.
Yeah, qualification.
Do you know, sir, if you are challenging, if you, for example, you say that candidate Akufo-Addo in this election is not qualified, you will have to come under 64.1. Because 64.1, yes, because 64.1 is based on 63. Now, in parliamentary elections, when you are challenging the qualification of a declared winner of a parliament of a constituency, don't you go by petition?
Yeah.
You go by any other process?
No.
Can 63.2?
In the 63.2, they say the election of the president shall be on the terms of universal adult suffrage and shall, subject to the provisions of this constitution, be conducted in accordance with such regulations as may be prescribed by constitutional instrument by the EC and shall be held so as to begin.
Yeah, then 3.
63.3,
which is the relevant one.
And on the thrust of this petition, I say, let me get that now and you're clear. Sorry about that. Okay, in the 63.3, a person shall not be elected as president of Ghana unless at the presidential election the number of votes cast in his favor is more than 50% of the total number of valid vote cast at the election.
Yes, this is 63.3. What's the title of Article 63? Election of President.
Election of President. Good. Yes.
Now, we 63.3 now. When they are supposed to enact the declaration, when they finish, they will do a declaration. When they are supposed to enact the declaration and gazette it. It was 63.
Yes.
If 63 now, no 64.1 said the validity of the election of no matter what may be challenged
only by.
Are you getting me? Yeah. So. The Article 63 which talks about the election of the president, is showing you in Yema election are valid. So any alleged violation of any of the articles in 63 must come under 64.1. I don't even know unless they are saying that, because if you read 63.3, come under, you will see the portions which talks about declaration and enactment. Yeah. So why are you saying so you should challenge it by what? A writ of summons or what? Challenge it by what? Because 64.1, which talks about election petition, is based on 63. And 63 talks about the election of the president. And yema, it was say a election of president be valid. It having set that foundation, no about 64.1 say the validity of the election may be challenged by a petition from a citizen to the Supreme Court, blah blah blah. So our opinion, which we have expressed in our submissions before the Supreme Court, and which the Supreme Court will determine at the appropriate time, is that any violation of any of the provisions under 63, Article 63, must be challenged under Article 64.
Under Article 64.
Exactly. And number two, like I've explained, election, and yes, I'm about polling station. And yes, I can't for coalition. Yeah, the coalition can because of about no police station we near tallies no you I was here about constituency by tallies. I was here about region by tallies. I was here about national by tallies. We are and was say you declare outcome no enacting into law
near Gazette.
Ye we no an ye we in between no bibia is in connection with the election.
Roger Metal no case in 2004. Isn't it based on a violation in one of those articles in 63?
What's it?
Roger Metal case no.
In fact, read article 63.9. 63.9.
And it still comes back to my question, Sammy.
Read 63.9.
Roger Metal no case no.
Yeah.
Won't it come under 63? Say a violation of any of these articles?
No. I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure it was based on 63.
Because it was based on declaration. They were challenging the declaration.
It was not the declaration. You see,
and its subsequent gazette.
I will have to refresh my mind with that case to know which laws they allege that the EC had breached. Because they were speaking about a law, impose a certain requirement on the EC to disclose in the declaration constituency results and not just the national results. And I'm not sure that is not found in Article 63.
Okay.
So I'm sure they were talking about maybe a provision in the election, the regulations we use for that election. Obi, are you getting me? Huh? Because I have not seen that provision in under Article 63. When the chairperson of the EC, the returning officer, is declaring the results on chair constituency, I have not seen that one. That one I stand
now
to be corrected. So
63.9,
read it.
Or say an instrument which is executed under the hand of the chairman of the Electoral Commission and under the seal of the commission, and B, states that the person named in the instrument was declared elected as the president of Ghana at the election of the president, shall be prima facie evidence that the person named was so elected.
So I feel what with the importance of what we are challenging. So what with the importance? The enactment, the declaration which is enacted into the declaration of president-elect instruments. In this case, this year's election, CI 135, and gazetted. That is a prima facie evidence that will be elected.
Yes.
That's how important that is. So when you are challenging that thing, you are challenging the election of the person. Now, Obi, let's even, I have now spoken law, which is only our opinion at Frontier. It is not, for me as a lawyer, a conclusive resolution of that matter. It is only the court and what the powers to do. I am only explaining, as a spokesperson, explaining to you what our counter argument to that argument from the other side is, which we have presented to the court, with the court to put. But let's even use common sense here. If I am challenging your election, we are elected as general manager,
president of Ghana.
Okay, president of Ghana. Yes. Amen. We are diabolic in a bit. You elected Philip Ozebunsu as president of Ghana.
Yes.
Okay. Now me say me challenge your election. Must I necessarily challenge the regularity of the conduct of the election in voting centers? One way that I can challenge your election is I can say so in that case, I am challenging the regularity of the conduct of your election. And I can talk about irregularities. For example, where MPP for 2013 election petition, they talk about the regularity of the conduct of the election. So they talk about overvoting. They talk about no signature on certain results, pink sheets, duplicate serial, and all your irregularities. That is one way that you can challenge the validity of the election of Philip Ozebunsu. But there is another way. Another way is when they say, Ansana Philip Ozebunsu will be validly elected as president. He must get more than 50% of the total vote cast. So even if the conduct is regular, there is no overvoting. There is no signature. Obia the BVD to, but there is no irregularity at any voting center. But Philip Ozebunsu did not get 50% plus one, and yet he has been declared by the winner. Now me challenge you. Am I not challenging the validity of your election? Okay. I am telling you that you are the declaration that you have won is not valid because you did not get the percentage of votes you were supposed to get to be validly elected. This is so common sense.
But Sammy, me pacho. The other point will then be, say, nipa no entimi and cross it 50 more than 50%, no. Based on calculation and why ye pursuant to declaration electoral commission boss near day or ye.
Based on
Meba. Which declaration and as a which base figure electoral commission boss na babe dia to mu say error into ma babe correct. Say no the year call back to that ban in 2004. He made this point, sir.
But you see,
because
the case that a man making his judgment in is materially different from this case.
No, but
and I've explained it to you.
Meaning the outcome. But judges in their ruling, apart from ratio, no SI or obeta or more can count, even though you're binding of persuasive effect, I mean, can you say an error in the EC declaration does not, Sammy Utie. An error in the EC declaration does not vitiate the validity of the elections. All the EC would be required to do is redeclare appropriately.
Let's go. Let me answer this question in twofold. The first thing is that the error that the bank is referring to there is referring to error with regards to the form of the declaration. Because that case was about the form of the declaration. The case of Omo this assembly court and then say who declare presidential results was say which constituency the candidates need.
Yes.
So that case Avareja ye declaration 2004 one chere the candidates ni nya ekofo ne males nya at every constituency to a tombra. So it was about the form. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
But the particular case here it has got nothing to do with form. So the error now while reading you cannot apply it to this case. I'm not sure that if Justice Dateban was presented with the same facts as they pertain to this case, he would have made this arbiter or this decision. Because the two errors are different. A be a legal effect is different. Bako you just form and we breachy. Bako so there it sins against the constitution and say also be 50% plus one.
But
therefore making it
unconstitutional based on an error which has been admitted.
Let me say now what besides is all the another question ban and a different issue. A different issue. But if you do a declaration, now declaration or passing into law, a gazette. Now I was here error there. And yes, I only address a declaration, enactment, any gazette
now, because which error has been corrected.
Please. When? Answer. Because why you say all the answers. So it was corrected when? Educate me.
But is there not a public statement from the Electoral
It was corrected when?
On the 10th of December.
Okay. And are you aware that subsequent to the 10th of December, the so-called correction you are talking about has also been corrected?
In the response to the petition?
Yes. Because on 9th December, the woman says total valid votes, which is so important in any presidential election.
Very important.
Because there no who candidate be a percentage. I say 30,434,574. Then at the action waka and normal can say a slip of tongue and you know your total vote cast. Me say people should wait for the cross-examination of G Mensa by lawyer Chachuchi Kata. Me in some everywhere Obi, we don't want to preempt certain things. It's a train. That day, certain things will be settled. Whether it was a slip or it was just a mistake, we will see.
Hey,
we will see. Yes. So people, you cannot afford to miss that. That will be the climax of this petition. Don't miss it. Respondents, no lawyers, no I don't see the second witness keeping too long in the witness
likely
box.
Say
Wednesday say figure now slip
on the 9th.
Yes, it will be yes. Okay. I am just telling you. You wait for that tender vote. People's credibility will be tested. And it will be settled once and for all in the witness box. So I am telling you, we are going to need now person who know don't miss the cross-examination of G Mensa by lawyer Chachuchi Kata. But let's even go. I will not go into those. Let's put that aside. Then the woman comes on the 10th. Wakoda amadiachi. Watre press release yaba. Or say my first figure now made by any wrong. The real authentic figure is 30,119,460. Obi meboa. On 10th December. And for weeks, Ghana for nyina agye atumu de ye adwuma. Obia wo obi e your Bible. Obia ka say results no e bro 100%. Ozi o no de e wrong figure. Isi na ba be correct me boa. No wa kan 10th December correction no me boa. And asem ni ko wiemu court. Maame no ba ya o me chere figures o de declaration. De ono wa de ba 10th no what twene. Wan mosumpo e wo court. Check her answer. No reference is made by her to that correction. Now, Obi, would you to one or beside your questions? Not a single reference to that correction.
To the 10th
December correction
statement.
Yes, check her answer. It's not there. You know the press release they've been making reference to is an exhibitor. Attached to a witness statement.
Which press release is from where?
From the EC's website. The EC itself has never put it before the court. Can say 10 from your correction. Check the answer. You see, these people are so dishonest. But because this issue is sub judice, sometimes we have to restrain ourselves. Because that correction now, Bible, no, it is not even in their answer. They have not even talked about it. To the court to say, we did a correction, we did a declaration on 9th, which was wrong, and we have corrected. They've not talked about it. Then, but they told the nation that they have done a correction from 30,434,574 on 9th. Now they talk about 30,119,460. Then we go to court. Then they come and talk about 30,121,111 after we had pleaded that figure in our petition.
Which of the figures did you plead?
The third one now is if was a correct figure.
They are one more response to.
Yes, to paragraph 24. No. They virtually quoted paragraph 12 of our petition because near this John Mama and this figure and the petition we say what cap 12 candidates in vote so I declare more on the 9th boom. That's the figure. So then they take that figure, they say the figure nini. And to work at me say I correction. Which of these figures are you referring to? And on what basis are you
figure then that's the figure.
And I'm saying say why must we believe the third figure and not the second figure?
It is because that's the figure you have sent to court. That's the figure you've pleaded.
No, the figure we sent to court is our third figure. We're showing them the inconsistencies.
Okay.
That whereas on the 9th, okay, say 13,434,574. No. Okay, candidates votes or them 13,121,111. So we're showing the inconsistency. In our view, this is it. So. And all these were based on 274 constituencies. Then you add Techiman South, making 275. And you get 30,218,633, which we have sent to courts. Now, Techiman South total valid votes are 97,227. Add it to any of the three figures, different three figures. You will never get the 27. The figure you get when you add the total value votes on all the 27 summary sheets on their website. They will say the 97,227 here patently incorrect, like Akoton Powell did today, because Kabumwa you get another figure. Yeah. That figure, that correct figure they are working with is 99,436. If you add that figure to all the three figures of Budi can buy based on 274 constituencies. The figure you get for 275 constituencies is different from what you get when you add the 275 summary sheets on their website. What are we telling you? We are telling you, like General Mosquito has said in his witness statement, from the evidence we have seen from the EC's own figures changing, it shows that they have cooked figures to achieve a predetermined outcome. I was saying a massage figures no mampenyo kufuado wene. That is why for the first time Ogana Bakosemo, this could not even have happened in our primitive days. Sebi abajimi mreno kwa na wenti misi. Say beto aba. Na results nkwa beye be enum adan. Then people say where results ne den. I believe people are asking more total valid votes no way.
In fact, one of the justices asked, my
answer is not in response to the respected justice of the Supreme. My answer is in response to those who are also asking those questions in the media space. Obi, the first thing was what General Mosquito said. The first answer, and they say, Yaba court to challenge the constitutionality of the declaration of Jim Mensah. Say based on figures that won the declaration, or Mampenyo Kufuado or say Warren and we more than 50% of the total valid votes. And the declaration is unconstitutional. And the year figures are a coalition and near same way in just any can be totally irrelevant to the issuer the Yaba court. Because we are not saying the declaration is not valid because our coalition says this. We are saying it is not valid because per your own figures, the man didn't cross the 50% threshold. Number two, Obi, and this is why I want you to listen to me carefully.
Now, yes,
it is not possible. Let me buy all the questions. No, say your time. Now, what it is not possible. Say under the circumstances, any political party can do a true and proper coalition and come by their own accurate results. It's not possible. Because to do your own coalition, true and proper coalition, and come by accurate figures, you need, because if it be garbage in, garbage out. So you need 275 summary sheets for the 275 constituencies of Ghana.
Alternatively, you need the over 38,000 pink sheet from polling stations.
But because they were aggregated, it is easy for you when you're using 275. Are you getting me?
Yes.
Because the 275 constituency summary sheets, based on the 38,622 polling station pink sheets. Now, the 275 summary sheets, to be able to, so John Mahama Wunyana Bakubiaso. And a total valid votes are what could be also. No, I can cut 275 in Nabumenya figure. The figures must be correct. But today, like you saw in court, all the chimans out there. Okay, can figures now, Modiama candidates in the Bumwa. We are 99,436. But easy naturally 97,227. To say, yeah, coalition. Which of these two figures should we use for the coalition?
I said in every coalition, your margin of error.
So you want us to coalition. So that's what. So you are confirming. Say you can never have an accurate coalition. And when you go to court, you don't talk about margin of errors. That is why we decided to abandon that exercise. We have shown 11 other constituencies on the face of the pink sheets. Calculation now is in this way. Any totals now when you know, inconsistent. Or the 1 + 1 a boom, or so when you 5. Instead of 2. What's the answer 5 in your calculation? Why? That would be so dishonest. So in the face of evidence of egregiously wrong total valid votes on different summary sheets, you can never aggregate wrong figures to get correct figures.
Okay.
So to the extent that hold on. So to the extent that what we have are carbon copies of the originals which have wrong figures and wrong calculations. How can you expect NDC to do any true and proper correlation and get to correct
that
figures?
Is for the 275.
Garbage in, garbage out. Hold on. Our figures will also be wrong.
Sammy, hold on. That's for the 275 constituency summary correlation.
The same applies to the pink sheets. Pink sheets in the West.
How?
You see a lot of pink sheets where can votes are candidates 12 in Nabo. Maybe the total is 100,000. But the EC has written the total is 800. But the EC has written 850. Now, do you use the 850 or you use what you think is the correct one? The reason why you cannot use any, and I say, somebody will say it's the total no mistake. But like General said in the witness box, total no correct. But the individual figures now okay no they be a mistake.
But so will these examples, Sammy, put together not rather constitute a reasonable course of action to invoke 64-1?
But they are already there.
Because we know
they are already before the court.
A part of more.
Yes,
more
we have exhibited at least. We said samples 11, not pardon.
Okay.
11 constituency results are on the face of it. The total valid votes captured on those forms, are wrong. And we are different from 26 constituencies now pardon number. So in the face of these things, how do you even do your own aggregation and get, in all honesty, your own accurate figures? You can't, because the primary data now, whatever your calculation, are flawed. Then Obi, finally, because I was time, and the BBC quarter, and let me deal with these two quick issues. BBC quarter, and what's a wow would be our Shannon so. This is the first time I have to about Ghana. The OD second, they say. The OD first, no, easy, no, area and ma, and the Akakanema, and only a friend of pardon. No. And this is the first time one, the OD first, and also say, easy area ma, and the Akan OD second, no, it will be a say easy area. Today, that was what the second respondents, the impression they created in court.
The pardon happened. You got.
Yes, the pardon happened on both sides. And then they come and say, the pardon is just 4,900 and something. Really? Obi, we are Bemu 4,900 mobiesa. Now 2012 election petition, and I dance here by for region where we are about 10 crime major Mahama. Kaden on Becca Vano. Now who we are about 4,900 enough
to materially affect?
Even if it is one, it shows that you are a thief. Because you are 10 Ghana cedis, only you are $1 billion. Or more pay, for. So it assails your credibility and integrity. And people are saying, oh, I mean, look at the argument. And we are telling you, say, and also because we have only given you sample cases based on the limitations of time and all that we had to prepare this witness.
What does that mean? Sir, during cross-examination,
we padded votes close to 4,900.
And not say, during cross-examination, no? Chachu would adduce evidence.
Hey, now you want me, the Greeks who say you want an appeals like me to come and sit here and talk about Chachu Chikates.
See where your sample.
People who said they were lawyers, some of us were not even born on this. And
I said that repeatedly. Wait for that sample.
Wait for that
more evidence. Just say be wait over 500,000 votes. Pardon.
So wait, but the point I'm showing here, and I say two things. MPP for Jiatum, like Peter McMahon who said in that interview on Joy FM, say, Jimen say we mama John Mahama. He say, NDC for Jimen say we mama Mampenye Kufuado. MPP for also say Jimen say we mama Mahama. So what is their beef? Then number two, and just say Muno Munya more favor or Mwanka, what is their beef? Then number two, they come and say, oh, it's an outcome. We are telling you, say, one umpwa. It shows that this EC has no integrity. We don't need an ECR. There will be pardoned votes of candidates. Then you come to this issue about video now. No more born. My court on the gadgets by to be able to play video of press conferences. Now and all that.
Mahama is president elect.
And no crime esre no.
Aden esre.
Now your case in no petition. I'm so more questions about court or more person more answer more questions. Omo case na siana. Me say. In fact, for General Mosquito Podier, now on Canny baby, I said John Mahama winning because he did projections. There were majority, and we think that President Mahama will get the comfort in this in Parliament. That was general. Sammy Gyamfi called John Mahama president elect. Utukono said President Mahama had won. So what? We are saying that in spite of our own figures, the President Mahama had won. Let us look at your own figures. President Akufo-Addo did not still cross the 50%, the more than 50% threshold that Article 63 on cost. That is in all stronger honesty, case.
In all honesty, some more figures are a President Mahama in the winning election now. Why should the whole country be going through this? Just present those figures and let's close this. Close this case.
When you are a client, you see, let me show you something. A challenge of the constitutionality of an election.
Yes.
Is more fundamental than issues of collation, different collated figures on the basis of a flawed election. Because who collation, how will you even defend it? All Akotampa will tell you, say, now say some riches now will see mistakes, women and one also they are your collation. That's what they will tell us. Say, say, your collation. What did they say? And yet easy for some riches. Nanya some riches, ya so na ya so say mistakes in Gwen. The better than the coalition. They think say, we can't think for ourselves. You see, we a client, I will be a lawyer with so many with what you think are your causes of action. It's for the lawyer to advise you, say, even though you think that per your own collation you have won, given the fact that EC now no mrane so no na enye collation ye declaration no one figures ye unconstitutional, and for that matter null and void ab initio, that is a more viable course of action to pursue than what you think you got
lawyer Sammy Gyamfi and you Sammy
me it will decide say for purposes of that case, I won't pursue this, but I will pursue this to achieve the same year. You are not being inconsistent in any way. Say, let me give you this practical example. Car. You have two causes of action against him. But you can choose. Say what the car name here. Inti car no kwana ubejina so then court. Once the court establishes say we are car no, he is a thief and you get what you want. Nobody can force you say. Unyaka say we are well for ma de nti no say what the court say we are car. Fa fuom de no so ka ho. Because you know what you are seeking to achieve at the end of your case based on the advice your lawyers have given you. So we stand by everything we have said. But this is the nature of our case before the court, and they should not attempt to conduct our case for us and tell us what we need for our case. And they are not in any position to do that.
And it behoves the Supreme Court to also determine whether there was a cause of action.
The problem in this country is that individuals who are just supposed to express opinions, like we are all doing, like you do and like I do, have turned themselves into justices of the Supreme Court who are pronouncing definite judgments on matters which are not before them.
Sammy Gyamfi attending Kano. Kano say lawyer Andre Japamesa Babe Cancer e studio ha that the way say Obi has Asiedun Ketia answered questions relative to the relationship between the Mahama petition and
this issue of pen drive.
No, you have time, don't worry. The relationship between the Mahama petition and Article 64.1, yes, he has. What was his answer? I heard him say the petitioner was not there to challenge the validity of the elections. We are no longer in the realm of speculation. Rojo and Co. also wanted the Supreme Court to declare the Declaration of President-elect Instrument CI-49 unconstitutional, null and void. That's one of the relief they sought in court. True. Tony Letha was their lawyer, as Sammy said. I suggest Sammy has not read the judgment in that case thoroughly. Abdul Malik Kweku Bako and Odewe. But it's your birthday today. Rudolph Amo Poku of Erata Motors, East Legon. Have a blessed birthday. This is from Moshosho.
Challenge the validity of the election. He never said we are not in court to challenge the validity. No. What? So what did he say? He said what?
What did he say?
I will challenge you.
So what did he
or
say?
Mr. Bako, bring me the SFs. The video is. What did he say? He said we are not here to take over the work of the EC chairperson by bringing our own figures. That's what he said. And that we are here to check whether the EC chairperson has discharged her constitutional obligations. Now, the constitutional obligations, doesn't that include conducting and declaring results of elections are constitutionally valid?
After this, I would hear from lawyer Andrew Japamesa. Yeah, but he's here.